Hi BookTube, I'm here today to briefly talk about my 2016 reading and then get into my goals for 2017. Hopefully this will be a quick video, but we'll see. In 2016, I kept my goals really simple. On Goodreads, I challenged myself to read 70 books and I ended up reading 130, so I well surpassed that goal. I nearly doubled it. In terms of resolutions, I only had one resolution, and that was to read newer releases, specifically 2017 books. I set myself the goal of reading 12, so one per month, and I also surpassed that. I lost count partway through the year. I think I read about 20 or a little bit more, so I more than surpassed that goal, so I'm really happy about that. Looking at this year, I plan on reading 100 books. That's what I set my Goodreads goal to. I actually originally set it to 85, but then I thought about it and said, you know what? I can read 100, so I just upped it, and I'll probably surpass that again if my reading is as prolific as it was last year. Otherwise, I do want to continue reading new releases just because I really enjoy reading books when they're new and buzzy, but I'm not going to set a specific number that I need to read each month. Now, I did crunch a few numbers for 2016 based off my reading. This year, I only tracked it using Goodreads. And next year, I definitely want to track my reading using Brock's spreadsheet from Let's Read. I'm going to leave a link down below to his channel and his spreadsheet because they're amazing. If you're interested in tracking your reading in more detail, this is definitely the way to go. I'm going to be doing this for the new year. But I didn't do it last year, so I had to kind of do some last-minute crunching to come up with a few stats. So what I found out, just have my tablet here because I don't have numbers memorized, is that last year of the 130 books I read, 22% were graphic novels. I can't believe how much I read of graphic novels. I didn't realize how many I read, and it definitely helps to keep that number really impressive sounding. I read 21% mysteries, thrillers, and suspense, which is no surprise. Everyone knows it's my go-to genres. And I would like to make sure that that stays one of the top categories that I'm reading next year because I like what I like and I think I've gotten good feedback. People are interested in hearing about those books, which is great because I like reading them and then talking about them. I also read 12% nonfiction, which surprised me. I didn't think I actually read that much nonfiction, but when I added up my stats, I had. I read also 12% young adult, and I'm okay with that. I'd like to keep young adult kind of in that 10 to 15% range. I am not opposed to reading young adult, but I find that I'm very picky about it. I noticed in the last 2 years that none of my top books of the year were young adult, and I really want to focus on only reading kind of the best of the best YA, the books that really translate well to adult readers like myself who typically reach for adult fiction. So I'm going to try to stay in that range next year. And then the remaining, I believe 33% was made up of general fiction, romance, and memoirs, etc. I was surprised. I only read 6% science fiction, but that actually made sense because I didn't really get into the genre until the last 3 months of the year. So pretty much all those books were read in October, November, and December. This year, I expect that science fiction is going to be a much larger piece of my genre percentage, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that compares once 2017 is done and I crunch some more numbers. Now for 2016, I also looked at my diversity stats because I've been really curious. It's been a big part of the conversation around BookTube for a few years. And with the Diversathon happening this week, I just really wanted to evaluate how I'm doing personally in my diverse reading, and honestly, it's not great. The genres I reach for, particularly mysteries and thrillers, are very tough to find popular books that are by people of color and other marginalized groups. So you really have to do digging for that, and I think I need to do a little more work and put in some effort because if I just pick up the books that are buzzy, I am not reading very many books by diverse authors, so I'd like to change that. Last year, I read 15 books by authors that I would consider to be own voices, whether they be persons of colors, people with disabilities, or part of the LGBT community. And 15 books, when I read 130 books, is only 12%, which is pretty abysmal. And I know I can do better. As well, I looked at just overall books that predominantly focused on diversity, even if the author themselves was not part of that group. And if I made that more wider window, my reading got a little bit better. I read 27 books that I considered to be having diverse content, and that worked out to 21%, but again, I can do better. So for 2017, I wanted to improve my diversity stats. I decided not to do it by ratio or percentage because I feel like that just discourages me from reading, because every time I would read a Caucasian or cis author, I feel like it would be changing that percentage, and I don't want to discourage myself from reading books I'm interested in. Instead, I just want to be inclusive and seeking out more books by marginalized authors with diverse, inclusive material in them. So my goals are to read at least 40 books that have predominant diverse themes in them. And of those books, I would like to have at least 25 of them written by own voice authors, whether they be persons of colors, people on the different sexual orientation scales, or authors with known disabilities. So I'm very excited to work on this, and I think I can do a lot better. And the great thing is, if I'm reading more by diverse authors, then I'll be able to give more recommendations and turn around and say, here are some great books you can read if you want to increase your own diversity. Those are my plans for 2017. Honestly, I want to keep them pretty relaxed. The other thing I did think about was really trying to pick up books that challenged me this year. If you watched my 2016 Best Books of the Year, you'll know that most of the best books I read were more entertaining, fun reads. And this year I'm in a good space. I really want to not only read for escapism, but also read to learn, to grow, to stretch myself. So I'm going to try to include some more difficult material in different ways, whether they be classics or challenging nonfiction, or just really chunky big books that I've wanted to read for a while that I've just been putting off because of their intimidating size. So I'm really hoping to read with the plan of coming back with an amazing list of books for my 2017 Best Books of the Year. That is basically it for my plans. Please share your 2017 plans down below. If you've done a video, feel free to link that. And just let me know what you think of my plans. Do you think they're attainable? Do you think I should push a little bit harder? I'm always open for feedback, and it's always good to chat. Thank you so much for watching as always. Hope you're having a good new year, and I'll talk to you again soon. Okay, bye-bye.